Good morning, my dear students. Welcome in second semester. Let us begin Science Chapter 9, The Living Organisms, Characteristics and Habitats. What is living organism? Living organism means living creatures like plants, animals and human beings are living organism. Okay. And what characters present in them and where they live. All these things we are going to study in this chapter. Students, with the help of this image, let us understand more about the living things, non-living things and what is biotic and abiotic component. Some example of living things given here, that is plants, animals, bacteria, fungus and protista. These are living things, and living things also called biotic component. Okay. And what is non-living things like water, soil, air, minerals and light. These are non-living things, and non-living things are called abiotic component. If question will come in the exam, write the biotic component of habitat and abiotic component of habitat. Then you have to give the answer according to my explanation. Okay, students. So students, all these things we have to study in detail from the chapter. Now let us study in detail from the chapters. Here Paley and Bujo went to different places. Then he saw different kinds of plants, trees, animals. They were different from each other. Even all places were also different from one another. Some were cold, some very hot and dry, and some places so humid. And all of them had many organisms. Means all places had living creatures and they were different from each other. Mean to say that there is no place on the earth where there is no living organism. Okay, even living organism is present in the opening of volcanoes. Means living organism can survive in very cold climate to very hot climate. Okay students, now let us see next topic, organism and the surrounding where they live. Means some organisms live in water, some organisms live on land, some fly in the air, some live in desert like camel, some animals live in cold places like polar bear, and variety of organisms live in seawater. Okay, and different kinds of plants is also present in these different areas. So what about the surroundings in these different regions? They were same. The surrounding of these two regions is different from each other. Means when you compare the surrounding of desert and sea, then you will observe that sea water is the salty water, okay, and desert is the hot and dry places. Means their surrounding are different from each other, okay. Now let us see activity 1. In this activity you have to collect all the plants, animals and other object that is found in the forest, on mountains, in the desert, in the sea or any other places. Then you will observe that they are different from each other and surrounding of these regions are also different from each other. Now let us see next topic, habitat and adaptation. Students, let us understand these two terms, what is habitat and what is adaptation. First, let us know what is habitat. The natural surrounding where a living organism lives is called its habitat, or in a simple words, habitat means home. For example, ponds, rivers, trees, desert, land, mountain are some of the habitats. And you know that in the sea, plants and animals are surrounded by saline water, means salty water. And the plants and animals which live in the sea, they use the air dissolved in the water. Okay, and there is a very little water available in the desert. In daytime, desert is very hot and it is very cold at night. And the animals and the plants of the desert live on the desert soil and breathe air from the surrounding. Main surrounding of these regions are different from each other. Now let us understand about adaptation. What is adaptation? The presence of feature or certain habits which help an organism to live in a particular habitat or environment is called adaptation. For example, polar bear can live in the cold places because some features is present in their body. What features present? Like fur is present in their body, okay, fatty layer is present in their body, and these special features protect the polar bear from the cold climate, so they can survive in the cold climate. Okay, how camels can survive in the desert? The body structure of camel help it to survive in the desert. You know that in daytime desert becomes very hot. Camels have long legs which help to keep their body away from the heat of sand. Okay, and you also know that there is a scarcity of water in the deserts. That's why camel excrete very small amount of urine. Their dung is dry and they do not sweat. Since camel lose very little water from their bodies, they can live for many days without water. Means these are the special features which is present in camel. That's why camel can survive in the desert area. Means they are adapted to live in desert. Okay. Now let us see example of fish. How fish can live in the water. What special features is present in the fish. Okay. Students, fish live in the water because combination of features present in them. First feature is that their body shape is streamline. Okay, what is streamline body shape? Students, all of you have been seen fish. The shape of body fish is like that. Means front part and back part narrow and middle part broader. This type of shape is known as streamline shape. Okay. And what next feature is present in the fish body? Fish have slippery scales on their bodies and these scales protect the fish and help in easy movement through the water. Okay. And fish have flat fins and tails, and these flat fins and tails help them to change direction in the water and keep their body balanced in the water. And you also know that gills present in the fish which help them to use oxygen which is dissolved in water. Means with the help of gills, fish takes oxygen from the water. Okay students, so these are the special features present in the fish. That's why fish can live in the water. Means we see that the features of fish help it to live inside the water and the features of camel help it to survive in a desert. So from the above example we understood that there is a wide variety of plants and animals and they all have special features. That's why they survive in a particular habitat. So the presence of specific features or certain habits which enable an organism to live naturally in a place is called adaptation. Adaptation of organism differ depending on their place of dwelling. Dwelling means home. That's why a fish cannot live out of the water and camel cannot live in the sea. Due to special features, they will survive in a particular habitat. The place where organism live is called habitat. Habitat means dwelling place, a home. The habitat provides food, water, air, shelter and other needs to organism. Several kinds of plants and animals live in the same habitat. The plants and the animals that live on the land are said to live in terrestrial habitat. What is terrestrial habitat? The plants and animals that live on the land are said to be live in terrestrial habitat. Some example of terrestrial habitats are forest, grassland, desert, coastal, mountain region. These are the example of terrestrial habitat. On the other hand, the habitats of plants and animals that live in the water are said to be aquatic habitats. Means the plants and animals which live in the water, that is, what is their habitat? Their habitat is aquatic. Lakes, rivers, oceans are the example of aquatic habitats. There are large variation among terrestrial habitats like forest, grasslands, desert, coastal and mountain region located in different parts of the world. Now, what is biotic component and what is abiotic component? Let us understand it. The organism, both plants and animals living in a habitat are its biotic component. Means living organism forms biotic component of habitat, and non-living things such as rock, soil, air, water in the habitat constitute the abiotic component. Abiotic component means non-living things and biotic component means living things. Okay students, so it is the first part of chapter 9. Thank you. So students, let us continue second part. Now we have to study activity 2. In this activity, we are going to understand that what factors responsible for germination of seed. According to this activity, collect some dry mung seed and keep 20 to 30 seed aside and soak the rest in water for a day and divide the soaked seed into 4 parts. Okay. Keep one part completely submerged in water for 3 to 4 days and do not disturb the dry seeds. And those submerged in water, keep one part of soaked seed in a sunny room and another in a completely dark region like a cupboard that does not allow any light to come in. Keep the last part in very cold surrounding. You can keep in the refrigerator or with ice around them. Now question is here. Do the seeds in all 5 conditions germinate uniformly? Do you find slower or no germination in any of these? Students, after doing this activity, you will find that in some cases seed will germinate fast while in some cases it will germinate slowly. But seed will not germinate without water. Okay? So we can say that abiotic factors like air, water, light, heat are important for the growth of plant. Okay? So these abiotic factors play important role for all living organisms. We find that organisms exist in very cold climate as well as very hot climates. Okay, and adaptation is the method by which organisms get well adjusted to the climate. Adaptation does not take place in a short time because the abiotic factor of a region also change very slowly. Those organisms which cannot adapt to these changes, they die, and only the adapted ones survive. Organisms adapt to different abiotic factors in different ways. This results in a wide variety of organisms in different habitats. Means to say that due to change in the environment, changes takes place in the feature of organism. They adapted according to the surrounding. Then they will survive, otherwise they will die. And this changes does not happen in a short period of time. Okay students, now let us look at some habitats understood the abiotic factors and adaptation of animals in these habitat. Let us see different types of terrestrial habitat. For example, desert is a terrestrial habitat, mountain region is a terrestrial habitat, grassland is a terrestrial habitat. First, let us study about desert. We discussed the abiotic factor of a desert and adaptation found in camels. Students, you know that desert receive less rainfall and it is very hot in daytime and cold in the night. Camels found in desert because so many features found in their bodies, so they survive in desert. But what about other animals and plants? How they survive? What special features present in their body? Let us study about it. There are desert animals like rats and snakes which do not have long legs that a camel has. To stay away from the intense heat during the day, they stay in burrow deep in the sand. These animals come out only during the night when it is cooler. You can see in figure 9.4. Okay, to protect themselves from the heat of the sun, they make burrow and live inside the burrow full day time Only night time these animals coming out when it is cool. Okay students. Now figure 9.5 shows some typical plants that grows in desert. How these are adapted to this desert, means what special features is present in these plants. Let us study activity 3. Okay. Students, in this activity you have to take a cactus plants, tie this plant with polythene bag and keep it in the sunlight for few hours. After few hours you will observe that there is a water droplets inside the surface of polythene bag. Okay. Means water comes out in the leaves in the form of water vapors, and this process is called transpiration process. Means to say that plants release a lot of water into the air through this process. But desert plants does not have leaves. Why? You know that there is a scarcity of water in the deserts. If more leaves will be there, then plant will release more water. So to conserve water in their body, their leaves reduce into spine. Okay. Let us study about it. Desert plants lose very little water through the transpiration. The leaves in desert plants are either absent or very small, or they are in the form of spines. This helps in the reducing loss of water from the leaves through the transpiration. The leaf-like structure you see in the cactus is in fact its stem. Okay, and photosynthesis in these plants is usually carried out by the stems. Let us see the cactus plant. It is cactus plants and the leaf-like structure is the stem part of the plants, and photosynthesis occurs in the stem parts of the plants because it is green in color, and leaves reduce and it is in the form of spines. Okay students. So these features are present in the plants which found in the desert, and stem of the desert plant also covered with a thick waxy layer which help to retain water in the tissue of cacti. Most desert plants have roots. They go very deep into the soil for absorbing water. Okay, the root of the desert plant is very long because it will go to deeper layer of the soil to absorb water. Next terrestrial habitat is the mountain region. Let us study about it. These habitats are normally very cold and windy. In some areas, snowfall may take place in winters. There is a large variety of plants and animals living in the mountain regions. You can see in figure 9.6 trees of mountain habitat. It is cone shaped structure. Okay, animals like snow leopard, yak, mountain goat found in the mountain region. How they are adapted, what special features present in their body, let us study about it. These trees are normally cone shaped, have sloping branches. The leaves of some of these trees are needle like. This helps the rainwater and snow to slide off easily. There could be trees with shape very different from these that are also present on mountains. They may have different kinds of adaptation to survive on the mountains. The animals which live in the mountain region, they are also adapted to the condition. Okay, means they have thick skin or fur to protect them from cold. For example, yaks have long hair to keep them warm. Snow leopard has thick fur on its body, including feet and toes. This protects its feet from the cold when it walks on the snow. The mountain goats has strong hooves for running up the rocky slopes of the mountain. So these are the special features present in the animals and plants which live in the mountain region. They have furs on their body, their skin layer is thick. Okay, so they survive in the mountain region. As we go up in the mountainous region, the surrounding changes and we see different kinds of adaptation at different heights. Now let us study about the next habitat, that is grassland. Okay, in grassland many grasses are found. Herb plants are found. Lions and deers are found there. Okay, let us study adaptation in lion and deer. What kinds of adaptation found in these animals. First, let us know about lion. A lion lives in a forest or grassland and is a strong animal that can hunt and kill the animal like deer. It is light brown in color. Okay, and their eyes are in front of the face. Means it allows the animals to judge distance correctly. Okay, and it has sharp teeth, long claws on its front leg. This helps it to grab and stab the prey. Okay, students, lion have long claws in their front leg that can be withdrawn inside the toes. Now next feature is that it is brown in color. Help it to hide in the dry grasslands when it hunts for prey. What is prey and what is predator? A predator is a carnivore, that is lion, and lion feed on its prey like deer. Okay students, so these are the adaptation found in the lion. Now let us know about deer. What adaptation found in the deer? A deer is another animal that live in forest and grassland. It has strong teeth for chewing hard stems of the forest. Okay, and their ears is long to hear the movement of predators. Eyes are on the side of its head, allow it to look in all directions for danger. Okay students, and it can run fast, and this helps the deer to run away from the predators. So these are the adaptations found in the deer. There are many other features of lion, a deer or other animals and plants that help them to survive in their habitat. So student, it is the second part of chapter 9. Balance topic I will teach you in next part. Thank you. Hello students, let us continue third part. Now next type of habitat is some aquatic habitats like ocean, sea, ponds, river, lakes. These are the water habitat or aquatic habitat. Ocean and sea is the saline water habitat, means water is salty. Already we have discussed how fish adapted to live in the sea, what features present in them. The body of fish is streamlined, scales is present on their body, fins is present on the body of fish, so they can swim easily in the water. Gills is present in the fish, that's why fish takes oxygen which is dissolved in the water. But what about other animals and plants, how they survive in the water bodies? Okay, what special features present in them? Let us study about it. Many other sea animals have streamlined bodies to help them move easily in the water. There are some animals like squid and octopus which do not have this streamlined body. Then they stay deeper in the ocean near the seabed and catch their prey, and during movement time they make their body shape streamline. Okay, and they have gills, and with the help of gills they take oxygen from the water. So these features present in other animals also. There are some sea animals like dolphin and whales that do not have gills. Then how they will breathe? That is very interesting question. They breathe in air through the nostril or blowholes. These blowholes located on the upper parts of their head. Okay, and with the help of blowholes they take oxygen from the air, and they can stay inside the water without breathing for a long time. When they need to breathe, they come out on the surface. Okay students, so these are the features present in the animals which live in the sea or ocean. Now let us know ponds and lakes habitat. It is freshwater habitat. What kinds of plants found there and what features is present in them? You can see in figure 9.9 some aquatic plants float on water surface. Okay, and some have their roots to fix in the soil. Okay, and some aquatic plants are submerged in the water, means live inside the water. So some of these plants have roots that fix in the soil below the water. In terrestrial plants, roots normally play important role. What is the function of root? To absorb water and nutrients from the soil. But in aquatic plants, roots are much reduced in size. Their main function is to hold the plant in that place. Okay. The stem of these plants are long, hollow and light. The stem grows up to the surface of the water while the leaves and flowers float on the surface of water. Means the plant which live in the water bodies, their stems are hollow and long and light in weight. Okay, leaves and flowers float on the surface of water. Some aquatic plants are submerged in water, means live inside the water. All parts of such plants are under the water. Some of these plants have narrow and thin ribbon-like leaves. You can see in figure. It is submerged plant and their leaves are thin and ribbon-like structure. Okay. So, these thin and ribbon-like structure help this plant, means protect the plant from the water current. So, these can bend in the flowing water. In some submerged plants, leaves are often highly divided through which the water can easily flow without damaging their parts. Okay, and frogs usually live in ponds. Frogs can live both inside the water as well as on land. Then what special features present in them? Frogs have webbed feet to help in swimming, lungs for respiration on land, moist skin for respiration in water. Strong back legs help in leaping and catching the prey. So these are the special features present in the animals which live in the water bodies. Now let us study the characteristics of organism. First we have to make the list of things around us. There are so many things around us like trees, creepers, small and big animals, birds, snakes, insects, rocks, soil, water, air, dry leaves, dead animals, mushroom, moss. Okay, and you have to divide it this list into two groups. In one group you have to keep the living things, in other group you have to keep the non-living things. On what basis you will separate them as a living or non-living things? Let us study about it. Students, to know the answer of this question, we have to study the features of living things. Some of the characteristics are common to all living things. First characteristics of living thing is nutrition. Means, do all living organisms need food? Yes, all organisms need food. You know that plant make their food by the process of photosynthesis, but animal get it from the plants or other animals. And you know that food gives us energy, and energy needed for the growth and development. Organisms also need energy for other life processes that go inside them. Means so many activities occurs inside our body. For that activity we need energy. So all organisms need food. Okay. Next characteristic of the living organism is growth. What is growth? Growth means increase in the height or increase in the size. All living things shows growth. Okay, students, means a baby grows into child, a child into a boy or girl, or a boy or girl into a man or woman. You can see from the figure. Similarly, chicken grows into hen or cock. Plants also grows. You can see different sizes of plants around us. Some are smaller in size, some are bigger in size. Okay, some are medium in size. So growth seems to be common to all living things. Now next characteristics of living organism is respiration. Do all organisms respire? Yes, all living things, either it is plants or animals, shows respiration. What is respiration? Students, it is a chemical process. In this process, food will burn in the presence of oxygen. Means when we take food, then food will digest in our digestive system. After that, this digested food reaches to each cells of our body. Okay, and it will burn in the presence of oxygen. Then it will provide us energy. And carbon dioxide and water also released in this process. Okay, and this energy is used for doing activities, and it is also used for growth and development. Okay, students. So when we breathe out, the air moves from inside our body to outside, and breathing is a part of a process called respiration. In respiration, some of the oxygen of the air we breathe in and used by our body, we breathe out carbon dioxide in this process. Okay, so breathing is common in the living organism. Respiration is necessary for all living organisms. It is through respiration that the body finally obtains energy from the food it takes. Already I explained about it. Some animals may have different mechanism for exchange of gases. For example, earthworm breathe through their skin, means earthworm take oxygen from their skin. And fish breathe through their gills, means with the help of gills. Fish absorb oxygen from the air, dissolve in water. Plants also shows respiration. How plants takes oxygen? Plants takes oxygen through their leaves. Minute pores present on the leaves, that is known as stomata. Okay, so the leaves take in air through tiny pores in them, use the oxygen, and plants also gives out carbon dioxide to the air. Means for respiration process, plants use oxygen and release carbon dioxide, but for the process of photosynthesis, plants takes carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Okay, let us study about it in detail. Plants use carbon dioxide to produce food and gives out oxygen. The amount of oxygen released in this process of food preparation by plant is much more than the oxygen they use in the respiration. Means in photosynthesis process, plants release much more oxygen in comparison to the respiration process. Means in this respiration process, plants take a small amount of oxygen, and in photosynthesis process they release more amount of oxygen. Okay students, it is the third part of chapter 9. Some characteristics is balance that I will explain in next part. Thank you. Let us continue fourth part. Next characteristics of the living organism is response to stimuli. Do all living organisms respond to stimuli? First let us understand these two words. What is response and what is stimuli with the help of some example. How do you respond? If you suddenly step on a sharp object like a thorn while walking barefoot. Students, suddenly you take your step backside. Okay. How do you feel when you see or think about your favorite food? Then saliva forms in your mouth. You suddenly move from a dark place into the bright light. Then you suddenly shut your eyes. Okay, students? And what happens when you touch the hot object? Suddenly you take your hand backside. So, in this example, different stimuli are present. For example, a thorn, a sharp stone, bright sunlight, favorite food, and the hot objects are stimuli. Okay, and these stimuli make us respond to the changes. How do we respond in the above cases? Either we immediately withdraw our food, shut our eyes, start producing saliva, or withdraw our hand, depending upon the stimuli. Okay. So, how you can define what is stimuli? Changes in our surrounding that makes us respond to them are called stimuli. All of us respond immediately to such changes. Okay, students. Do other animals also respond to stimuli? Yes, other animals also respond to stimuli. Let us understand it with the help of some example. Wild animals run away when bright light is flashed towards them. Similarly, cockroaches begins to move to their hiding places if the light in the kitchen is switched on at night. So, These are the some examples of responses of animals to stimuli. Do plants also respond to stimuli? Yes, plants also respond to stimuli. Flowers of some plants bloom only at night. In some plants, flower glows after sunset. In some plants like mimosa, commonly known as touch-me-not plant. What happens when you touch the leaves of touch-me-not plants? Leaves closes or fold when someone touches them. Okay, so these are the some example of responses of plants towards the changes in their surrounding. Means all living organism, either it is plants or animals, shows response to stimuli. Now let us see activity 4. In this activity, place a potted plant in a room a little away from a window through which sunlight enters the room during day. Continue watering the plant for a few days. Does the plant grows upright like plant out in the open? Not the direction in which it bends. Students, plant will not grow upright. You will observe that the plant start bending in the direction of sunlight. Okay, this activity proved that plant also shows response to stimuli. Here sunlight is the stimulus and plants bend towards the sunlight means plants showing response. Okay students, all living things respond to changes around them. Next, characteristics of the living organism is excretion. What is excretion? The process of getting rid of waste by organism is known as excretion. Okay. All living organisms need food and food is used by our body and waste products are produced. So, this waste product should be removed from our body and this process is known as excretion process. Okay. Next question is, do plants also excrete? Means waste is also produced in plant body. Yes, plants also produces waste. But the mechanism in plants are little different. Let us understand it. In some plants, the waste products are stored within the plant's body. These waste products are not harmful to the plant's body. Okay. Some plants remove waste products such as secretion. Secretion may be in the form of sticky substance called gum or a thick fluid called latex. Okay. When you break the twig of some plants, then white liquid will come out. That is the waste product of the plant. Okay, students. So, excretion is the another characteristics common to all organism. Next characteristics of the living organism is reproduction. Do all organisms reproduce their own kind? Yes, all living organisms shows reproduction. All living things have ability to produce more of their own kind. Okay. So the ability to produce young ones of their own kind is called reproduction, and reproduction is necessary for living things to survive generation after generation. Animals reproduce their own kind. The mode of reproduction may be different in different animals. Some animals produce their young ones through the eggs. Okay, means birds lays eggs and young ones comes out from the eggs. Some animals give birth to young ones like cow. Human beings give birth to young ones. Plants also reproduce like animals. Plants also differ in their mode of reproduction. Many plants reproduce through seeds. Okay, plants produce seeds which can germinate and grows into new plants. Some plants also reproduce through parts other than seeds. For example, a part of potato with a bud grows into a new plant. Means we can grow new plants from the stem part of the plant, from the root part of the plant, from the leaves part of the plants. Okay students, so plants also reproduce through cutting. Would you like to grow a plant in this way by yourself? Let us see activity 5. In this activity 5, take a cutting from a rose or mehndi plant, okay, and fix it in the soil and water it regularly. What do you observe after a few days? Then you will find that a new plant start developing from the cutting planted in the soil. Means we can grow plant from the stem part also. Means plant shows reproduction. Okay students, now next characteristics of the living organism is movement. Do all organisms move? Living things shows movement. Most animals move from one place to another place and also show other body movement. But what about plants? Students, most plants do not move. They are fixed to the soil, but they show movement of certain parts such as leaves, stems, roots and flowers. Okay. However, various substances like water, minerals and the food synthesized by them move from the one part to the other part. Means plants prepare their food and food will move from the one parts to the various parts of the plant. Okay. You have noticed any kind of movement in the plants? Opening or closing of flower. Okay. Means plant also shows response to stimuli. Students, what happens when you keep flower in the room, then it will bend towards the sunlight, okay, and the flowers changes its position to the to face the sun in a sunflower. And when you touch the leaves of the touch me not plants, then their leaves fold. Okay, means plant shows response to stimuli, means these are the movement in the plants. Okay, now do we find some non-living things that also show some of these characteristics? Car, bicycle, clocks and the water in the river move. The moon moves in the sky. A cloud grows in size right in front of our eyes. Can such things be called living things? No, these are non-living things because these things does not have the characteristics of living things. Okay students, car or vehicles run on fuel. Cloud move in the sky but it moves by the help of air. Okay, so what are the characteristics of the living things? Living things shows nutrition, means take food. Living things shows respiration, means takes oxygen. Okay, living things shows growth, living things shows excretion, living things shows reproduction, living things shows movement, living thing responds to stimuli. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the living things. Students, I hope all of you understood the chapter. Thank you students.